66 million years ago, a rock roughly the size of Mount Everest hit the Earth at 20 kilometers per second. The impact released more energy than 1 billion nuclear bombs. It triggered wildfires across entire continents, sent a debris cloud around the planet that blocked out the sun for years, and collapsed food chains from the bottom up. But what if the dinosaurs never died? What if the asteroid hit the Earth just 30 seconds later? Most people picture a world full of T-Rexes stomping through jungles while humans scramble to survive. Basically a theme park with worse insurance. But that picture is wrong in almost every way. And when you start pulling at the real answer, you find something that doesn't just change what dinosaurs look like in your head, it changes what you look like. What would have happened to intelligence, to civilization, to the very concept of a species that asks questions about its own existence if the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs had missed? The answer is stranger and considerably more humbling than anything in Jurassic Park. Let me show you exactly how specific this disaster was, because I think it's the most underrated fact in all of natural history. The asteroid didn't just hit Earth, it hit one of the single worst possible spots on Earth. The Yucatan Peninsula sits on top of seafloor that's absolutely packed with sulfur-rich sediment. When the rock hit and vaporized it on impact, all that sulfur launched into the upper atmosphere and turbocharged the global winter to a degree that a deep ocean impact just couldn't have matched. Different approach angle, different impact site, and the extinction event is dramatically smaller. Still catastrophic, still a very bad Tuesday for most species, but survivable for far more of them. 30 seconds out of 165 million years of dinosaur dominance on this planet. That's the gap between the world you and I are living in right now and the one where neither of us exist at all. So in this other timeline, the asteroid misses. The debris cloud never forms. The wildfires still happen. The impact is still colossal, but enough sunlight gets through, enough food chains hold together, and enough dinosaurs make it to the other side. The Cretaceous period doesn't end. It just keeps going. Mammals weren't waiting in the wings 66 million years ago, ready to take over the moment an opportunity showed up. They'd already been living alongside dinosaurs for over 100 million years, and in all that time, the best they'd managed was small, nocturnal, and very good at hiding. Every large ecological niche on land was fully locked up. The grazers were dinosaurs. The apex predators were dinosaurs. The mid-sized, opportunistic omnivores filling every gap in between, also dinosaurs. Mammals were surviving in the cracks or under rocks, eating insects at 3 a.m. and desperately hoping nothing had heard them move. For 100 million years, that was it, because every time evolution nudged one of them toward get bigger and try something ambitious, a dinosaur was already there, doing it better, and had been doing it for 50 million years. When the asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs, it was like the landlord who owned every single property in the city disappeared overnight and left every apartment empty at the same time. Mammals flooded in. Within a few million years, they'd scaled up into horses, whales, elephants, and eventually the primate lineages that led to you and me. The entire mammalian explosion that produced every large animal either of us has ever seen happened because the landlord finally left. In the timeline where the asteroid misses, the landlord stays, the apartments stay full, mammals stay small and nocturnal for another 60 million years, possibly forever. The chain of events that produced human intelligence never starts, because the ecological space that forced mammals to grow up and get smart never opens. In that world, there are no humans. There's not even a version of us in development. We're not delayed, but cancelled entirely. When most people imagine dinosaurs surviving, they picture the Cretaceous just frozen in time. T-Rexes and Triceratops wandering around forever while mammals stay irrelevant and nothing really changes. But that's not how evolution works. It kept going for 66 million more years in this timeline, and what some dinosaur lineages were already building toward before the asteroid interrupted them is genuinely not what I expected to find. By the late Cretaceous, some dinosaurs had gotten surprisingly smart, specifically a group called troodontids, small, feathered, bipedal carnivores about the size of a large turkey, with brain-to-body ratios among the highest of any animal alive at the time, higher than most modern mammals, higher than most living reptiles. They hunted in coordinated groups, showed signs of parental care, and were already trending in a direction that, given enough time, looked like it might go somewhere genuinely interesting. In the 1980s, a paleontologist named Dale Russell ran the numbers on what 65 million more years of troodontid evolution might produce, and his conclusion, which made a lot of people uncomfortable, was a bipedal, large-brained creature that had independently arrived at something resembling a humanoid body plan. Because upright posture, freed forelimbs, a large social brain, and hands capable of manipulating objects turn out to be a pretty effective package for any species trying to interact with a complex environment. Most scientists today think his specific design was too human-shaped. Evolution is messier and less predictable than that. But the core idea has held up. Given the right pressures and enough time, something in the troodontid family might have crossed the threshold into genuine civilization-building intelligence. If it happened, it would have been alien to us in almost every way, probably communicating through combinations of sound and color change displays, perceiving ultraviolet frequencies you and I can't see, building structures that look nothing like anything we'd recognize as architecture, asking questions about the universe in a conceptual language neither of us could follow, even if we were standing right next to them, or it never happens at all. Intelligence is an expensive evolutionary solution to a very specific problem, and if the environment never generates that problem at exactly the right intensity, you just get very sophisticated animals that are still, fundamentally, animals. The troodontids might have thrived for another 66 million years and never once wondered what they were. That outcome is on the table too, and I think it's the more likely one. We have this quiet background assumption that intelligent life is basically inevitable, that if you run a planet for long enough with complex organisms, eventually something builds cities and starts asking questions. Dinosaurs had 165 million years. That's 40 times longer than our entire genus has existed on Earth. They were spectacularly diverse, wildly successful across every continent, and increasingly sophisticated right up until the moment they died. And in all of that time, as far as we can tell, not one of them ever looked at the stars and wondered what they were. Not one of them left a tool, a symbol, or a structure that suggests anything beyond very impressive animal behavior. What produced human intelligence wasn't just time. It was a catastrophically specific sequence of improbable events stacked on top of each other. A mass extinction at exactly the right moment to clear ecological space. The right class of mammal surviving it. 60 million years of very particular climate shifts that forced cognitive adaptation in a specific primate lineage in Africa. Thousands of generations of accumulated cultural knowledge stacked on top of the biological changes underneath. Take out any single piece, and you probably don't get a species capable of making a YouTube video about the piece you removed. You and I are not the predictable output of a universe that was building toward observers. We're an extraordinarily unlikely accident in a universe that has no opinion about us whatsoever. And the specific accident that made us possible was a space rock hitting a patch of sulfur-rich seafloor at the right angle, 66 million years ago, with about 30 seconds to spare. That's the whole margin. 30 seconds of astronomical timing, and you're here watching this. 30 seconds the other way, and the most intelligent thing on Earth might be a feathered predator the size of a turkey that never quite got there. So let me bring this back to the original question. What if dinosaurs never went extinct? The real answer is that you're not in the story at all. The asteroid wasn't just the end of the dinosaurs. It was the beginning of the only chain of events that led to something capable of wondering about it. You owe your existence to a rock that hit the right spot, at the right angle, at the right moment, and to 66 million years of accumulated accidents after that, every single one of which had to go exactly right. Any one of them could have gone differently. The dinosaurs had more time than we've had by a factor of 40. They didn't make it to this conversation. We've had a fraction of that time, and here we are, already arguing about what it means. That's not a small thing. That's actually the most improbable thing that's ever happened on this planet. And knowing that, really sitting with how unlikely all of this is, makes it feel a little more worth paying attention to. If this video has you thinking about your own existence differently, that's exactly what I was going for. Subscribe if you want me to keep doing this to you on a regular basis.